That's the one news on the one hand. Then congratulations to the Springboks of South Africa. That's the okay. That's not the only time I'm going to congratulate you. Those are the only two times I will congratulate South Africa.
Okay.
When the Springboks are playing
And
and when the Proteas are playing.
okay.
When it's football,
You
there's no congratulations. We are not friends. There's nothing. There's no celebration here. But it was a great one. I'm loving the Siak. I'm a Siak Kolisi fan. So congratulations to the Springboks. They weren't the best team in this tournament. I will say that every time you ask me. They didn't play the best rugby, but what they did was that they pushed through. Um, all the narrow wins they just managed to make.
yes.
The times they had to hold off. It was just grit and focus that got them over the line. So congratulations to the Springboks. Really great performance. And then for England, they're beating you in rugby, beating you in cricket. We're waiting for them to beat you in football. So that everywhere will be quiet.
Yes.
But those are the only, well, I mean, those are the only two good news. Well, those are the only two.
Nobody hit the canvas over the weekend.
We will talk
Oh,
about
okay.
that. That's not for me.
Okay. All right.
That's for the locker room. And what else? I want to talk about Cancun. Okay, so the WTA finals,
Yes.
the top 8 players all season are in Cancun right now.
Yeah.
To play the final tournament for the season, and they just finished that. Literally, finished that stadium a day before the tournament.
The contractors were not paid on time.
So hmm, the story of that Cancun is long.
Okay.
Um, China used to host it. Then,
That's the
uh,
Mexico you're talking about now.
yes. So China used to host it, but you don't call it. You can't call it Cancun, so you know where you're going to. That's where people with money go to.
Yeah.
So, call it by its real name.
All right. All right.
But then they had the COVID. Then they also had the Peng Shuai incident where she got missing, and the WTA said they're going to take her out to Canada. Unfortunately, they didn't find enough. Well, they didn't find another person to host them, so Cancun came up last minute,
I see.
and the players were complaining a bit about the court. They haven't been able to practice enough on the court. How the ball is bouncing, how everything is. In fact, there was one player that put out a picture of all 8 of them, and then she put them in workers' outfits. to show that
Is that
to
bad?
show that the stadium is still in a state of,
Work in progress.
yeah. So it's a tough one. I hope the WTA is going to be able to sort out this end of year. In fact, they should hire me. I will sort them out. We have Morocco, we have South Africa here. We would
True.
host them. Stadiums will be full,
Saudi is even willing.
guaranteed.
Saudi is.
No, I'm just saying. I'm coming from where I am.
All right.
Africa will host you. Call me. Call me, Mikilola. I can sort this out.
Okay.
In one phone call, I'll sort it out.
Hmm.
We'll host in Morocco, we'll host in South Africa. Packed stadiums.
Okay.
Unfortunately, I don't work for the WTA.
Doesn't look
All
like
right.
that.
On that note, we start the locker room right now. Tell us how we can be a part of the locker room before we go into the Chelsea and Manchester United banter.
See bands coming. Anyway, to be part of this conversation and all the banters inside the locker room, just be sure to get this number 0809 444 0981. Send in your banters and every other sport issues that made your weekend. 0809 444 0981. Search for us on youtube.com/smooth981 FM Lagos. On YouTube, leave your comment. We're sure to read those also.
All
Tega.
right. Let's read the headlines and then we'll take it from there.
On the bill this morning, we've got again Waldrum will be absent as Super Falcons Lucy battle for ticket now, and then we've got a British heavyweight claims controversial split decision win over ex UFC fighter by Bobby Jackson, and then we have Hamilton proud of Mercedes team after bouncing back. And then we've got Silver Hills, one of the best wins for Man City, as Ancelotti praises stupendous Bellingham after Classico double. And then there would be Thuram gives leaders Inter revenge on Lukaku as Napoli draw with Milan. And then there would be Chelsea slump again as Nketiah shines for five-star Arsenal. And then match postponed after Leon Timbers stone in Marseille, Grosso injured.
All right. So we talk about rivalries, and sometimes people say that maybe that's why the Merseyside rivalry, which used to be one of the most bitter rivalries,
Mhm.
um, and then it used to have the highest number of red cards, was moved to earlier in the day. Same thing with the El Clasico, was moved to 4 p.m. as opposed to late at night. But this Lyon Marseille rivalry, ha, okay, they can't even play it now. Now they can't even play it because they are
Yes.
stoning bosses and injuring coaches. But tough one. But first of all, before we go to Europe, let's start with what's supposed to happen in Abuja with the Super Falcons of Nigeria.
And so we understand the Super Falcons head coach Randy Waldrum will not be in charge of the women's national team when they meet Ethiopia's Lucy in the decisive leg of their Paris 2024 Olympic Games qualifier in Abuja this week.
Yes. So um Randy Waldrum's issues and the Super Falcons. It's crazy with the NFF, and we talk about this a lot, but we'll get tired. So, basically, Randy missed the first leg, the 1-all draw,
Yes.
in Ethiopia for personal reasons. That's what they're claiming, and he's going to miss this one again, maybe for personal reasons again. We don't know,
A lot related.
we can't tell. But what it is that the conversation. So, his contract has not been extended. Now the rumors that the contract will not be extended, and that's what they're claiming. But the NFF technical committee speaker comes out to say that, look, no, that's not exactly true. That they were supposed to have a conversation with Randy when he came to Nigeria to take charge of the team. Unfortunately, Sao Tome and Principe said they were not showing up for the match, and they were allergic to being beaten. So they didn't show up for the tournament, and because they didn't show up for the tournament, there was no point in the Super Falcons coming together,
Yeah.
and Randy didn't come. So they were going to discuss it with him the next time he came for the match. Now the next time is this time, and he's still missing. So I don't know what the problem is. I don't know who is telling the truth, because right now we can't get anything out of the NFF. What are categorically stating if his contract will be extended, what are the terms of that extension, and all of that. We don't know what's happening. But what it is that the girls have been coachless. The national team has been coachless, and they're playing crucial qualifiers for the Olympics, which we didn't qualify for the last time out. So really tough, nasty one from the NFF. I think this should have been sorted out. And these days you don't really need to even travel. I think the one thing that 2020 taught us was you don't need to travel. Just Zoom.
Mm.
If you need to have that meeting, so why does he need to appear in the country? What they want to say to him that they can't say over the internet? It's just it's a little bit of the tackiness and the nonchalance that these people
I get it.
give with the Super Falcons. It's something that you will not try with the Super Eagles. So we'll see how they sort it out eventually. But the girls have to play tomorrow again without a coach, and hopefully they'll do the job in Abuja and qualify Nigeria for the Olympics. And yes, and FIFA has sent our money, so we are waiting to see when the girls will get it. So
Which
countdown
to
for
the
the World Cup money, the
okay.
$60,000 the girls are supposed to collect.
Yeah. Okay.
Don't be celebrating yet. FIFA has sent it to Nigeria.
All right.
From Nigeria to the girls,
Account.
it's a completely different process. So let's wait to see when they get that.
Okay, I'll save my celebration using Tega's advice for now. But let's drift away now to WBC heavyweight champion Tyson Fury claimed a controversial split decision victory over former UFC fighter Francis Ngannou in Saudi Arabia.
All right. So if you were asleep, you woke up to this on Sunday morning. Everybody just shouting about it. And when I saw the fight, Ngannou, a UFC fighter against Tyson Fury, there's no belt on the line. I was like, okay, this is at best an exhibition match, right? They'd have had a script. They're going to practice that script,
Yes.
and everything will go according to plan. So I wasn't even interested in losing any sleep for them, frankly speaking. And then the fight starts, and in fact, the first thing I hear was Tyson Fury is down. That was when I paid attention,
Okay.
because he was knocked down in the third round. I was like,
Wow.
Tyson Fury is down. I was like, what kind of script are they writing? Is it WWE? Is it crazy? You know how they used to do it?
Yes.
They first knock down the Undertaker, then he'll stand up to that beat.
Yes.
I was just like, this is a good WWE script. Turns out, and if you watch the fight on point, basically, some people would say
That's
at
it.
best should have been a draw.
I said it's it.
Yeah, a lot. Some people say no, no. I'm talking of the fight, not just the story.
Okay.
Some people say at best it should have been a draw. Others to tell you categorically Ngannou should have won that fight. But it's crazy that Tyson Fury is the undefeated one. And he is in a ring against a UFC fighter who is boxing for the first time. Now you might say he's fighting, he's not just fighting. Boxing has its own technique. So he's boxing for the first time professionally. And he was able to knock your undefeated to the canvas. And he was able to take him, not just he didn't survive the fight. It wasn't just ropered up. Sometimes he moved around a little bit because
Yes.
if Tyson Fury's fist touches you, you can sleep for days.
Yes.
But it was a good fight. So my point is, why do you rig a scripted fight? Why didn't you just script it so that Tyson Fury is the one that knocks Ngannou on the
Yes.
canvas? It was crazy. So everybody had what to say about it, and I'm glad it wasn't just me. I'm sure boxing world will be like, we've messed up, because think about it. LeBron James is waking up. Is waking you up in the morning saying, "I don't watch boxing." What kind of fight is this? Do you understand?
I
They are,
see
they
it.
are, they are people of caliber.
I said the stars who came out for
Yeah,
that match.
just even those things. Why did you waste our time? It's crazy. The good news is, boxing got the attention of the world. They say any PR is good PR. Whether it's negative light, but
Yeah.
that was not a good script, and that was not a good end result for the fight. But it was great to see Ngannou. He made for his regional fight.
Since it would be given
Look,
with a
if,
thought if it
if
would.
if they do a rematch, that means they just want to make money. I'm asleep. I'm not even going to put it on the locker room story.
I see that. Well, that means that we need to get listener to know that they can be part of the conversation inside the locker room on 0809 444 0981.
Yeah, let's just take one reaction before we go on the break. This one is from Tayo, and he says Francis Ngannou was robbed of the match of the fight against Fury because
Powers that be deemed it as such dishonest sportsmanship. Lion know they born good because if Mike Tyson trains you, it will show.
all right, on that note, we'll take a quick break. When we come back from the break, we'll be reading your messages and we'll be discussing football. It's fine. Yes, please. What's happening to the YouTube? It keeps buffering. Call Miriam, please. Miriam, your YouTube is buffering. Oh. Ah. Ah. 1, 2, 3. Yeah. 1, 2, 3. Yeah. My 2 minutes exercise. Everything is buffering.
Yes, I don't know, probably the network will be going. It's flowing as it wants to.
It's going so slow. Miriam, oh.
Look at it, 95, 94, 96, 93. This fight is...
No, they determined that
Okay.
a boxer will win the boxing.
Okay. Because it's too...
So Miriam is the one in charge of our YouTube. Let me just tell you her name now, so that you will know who to vote. Miriam. No, she says her name is Miriam, not Miriam. As in Miriam Babangida, as opposed to Miriam. Which is strange, because I always thought, but I don't go school. I thought Miriam was the Muslim way to pronounce the name.
So what did you find out now?
She says her name is Miriam,
Not Miriam.
not Miriam.
I think
I
they're
mean,
very...
I don't know book like that.
Take a while.
I don't know what else to say. Because I
No.
used to think it was that Miriam was the
They have. I've seen the two variations.
Yeah.
Me and then
Me.
the M that becomes the Schwa Miriam sort of.
Eh.
Miriam, the former first lady. What was she called?
Miriam Babangida
Was
now.
she me? Was it an I?
No, she was
What?
Miriam.
Uh huh.
Oh, she Muslim. Abi, so her husband
Her
that was
husband was
Muslim.
yes, but
Because she was from Asaba.
yes, but then she has imbibed the culture a great
I
deal, and
don't know.
I can't tell. I can't tell,
I
baby.
can't tell you.
I can't tell. Uh,
Because I know because she was married to Babangida, everybody just assumed.
yes.
So I can't tell.
Tega.
But yeah, let's go back.
Tega, we go. Don't worry, we're coming back.
No, there's a long time wait, you put it back.
We're coming back. So I didn't really stop on that. I forgot. Okay, so let me put this one out so that we don't end up. And I can bring you back. Yeah, sorry.
So we'll come back with these two messages and then
Okay, okay.
we'll quickly rush through the next story. Because we have two minutes.
Your locker room on the Smooth Breakfast, Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays at 8.
We're smooth 98.1 FM. It's still the locker room and Tega Onojiafe is still here. My name is Omatseye Atsenuwa.
We're back in the locker room and we have this message. Oh, it's a picture of Ghana knocked down Tyson Fury. But the caption from Obi says, Man City knocked down Manchester United. And also, AY sent in this message.
From Oniran, it says, yesterday's Manchester derby result was just another routine win for Pep and his City boys. Then power has changed hands now. The blue side of Manchester, the noisy neighbor, the noisy anthem now, City boys.
All right. So on that note, send your messages too.
Let's get messages coming on to 0809 4440981 for WhatsApp messages. Race down to our YouTube channel and leave us a message on youtube.com/smooth 981 FM Lagos.
All right. On that note, let's continue with the stories. I think we should go to F1 first.
Yes, we see Hamilton is already waiting, and then this time he says Lewis Hamilton said he felt incredibly proud of his Mercedes team on Sunday after bouncing back from his disqualification in Texas to finish a strong second in Mexico Grand Prix.
Yes, so good weekend for him. Now, here's how that disqualification from Texas mattered. Because if yesterday Hamilton finished second and he finished with the fastest lap in pretty much the last lap of the race when everybody thought everybody's tires were dead. That's when he set the fastest lap. And that closed the gap to Sergio Perez, who crashed out on the first lap of the race of his home Grand Prix, by the way, to just, I think, 19 points at the end of the day. So if he had, if the result from Texas had stood by now, Lewis Hamilton would be second in the Drivers' Championship, and that was the battle. So that disqualification did car, that car, and that car, and that's it. So so that's what Lewis Hamilton has. A lot more cars would have been disqualified, but it's not like they checked every single car. So which is what they're saying, that if you're going to check for that, then check every single car so that some people don't feel hard done by. But those are the rules. The rules are the rules. And so that was it. So they didn't pick their car this time. It would have started to look like witch hunting if they picked their cars again. But the Mexican Grand Prix tarmac is not as hard as the Texas on. So I think that was a good news for most of the cars who unfortunately didn't. But as usual, Red Bull won the race. And when I say Red Bull, I just literally mean Max Verstappen, because Sergio Perez is almost like a hanger on right now. Lewis Hamilton came second. and Charles Leclerc came third. So three different constructors on the podium. But really tough one for Sergio Perez because he went to Mexico. The crowd was waiting to support him. Then the very first lap, he saw a space, and I agree with him. He should take that advantage of that space. He could have gambled. Unfortunately, he was trying to overtake Charles Leclerc. At the same time, Charles Leclerc was trying to overtake Max Verstappen. So Charles Leclerc was sandwiched in between the two Red Bulls, and there was nowhere to go left or right. And Sergio Perez could have maybe, just maybe, moved slightly to his left to go the longer way around. So racing incident at the end of the day, but tough one for him.
Looks like a fine place to head down to England now, where Bernardo Silva hailed Manchester City's 3-0 demolition of Manchester United on Sunday as one of the best wins for Pep Guardiola's all-conquering side.
Yes, so you would say that the golfing class was too visible. It was a horrible performance by Manchester United. Started well looking like they were going to be able to hold forth, but as much as I would say this, as much as we blame Eric Ten Hag for the transfer that he did in the market for the players that selects on the day, you also have to question whether these players don't have any ambition, because even on the pitch they were second to every ball, second to every tackle, second to every thought process. Like, too many times I was shouting space, space. I was not even a Manchester United fan. I was shouting too much space because it's almost as if a Manchester City player gets the ball and all the Manchester United players just back off. I'm like, is this kryptonite to Superman? What are you doing? Close them down.
Who's playing at home?
Do you understand? Who's playing at home? Just own your space. But it was a horrible performance. As much as you want to harass the coach, as much as you want to blame the coach, and I agree, he carries some of the blame. But some of those players, so you're collecting salary and you're playing that kind of, you have to deduct your salary. In fact, I think a Nigerian owner needs to go to Manchester United. Everybody will sit up. They'll be scoring 30 goals a season. But it was not a good performance by Manchester United. And Manchester City, truth be told, didn't even need to leave gear two, because they played as good as they needed to. It was not the most brilliant Manchester City side I've seen, but they looked amazing because of the poor quality, let me be specific, of the opposition. So really poor performance by Manchester United players, really shameful, and regardless of what Eric Ten Hag is smoking and he comes up to say at the end of the match, it was a horrible performance. I think himself and his players, they just need to look in the mirror and tell themselves a little truth. We are not in competition. We are just surviving.
Okay, this takes us to Spain, where Real Madrid manager Carlo Ancelotti has hailed Jude Bellingham as stupendous after the midfielder scored twice to earn his side a 2-1 fight back win at Barcelona in Saturday's La Liga.
Now this was a rivalry, and this was a football match. Barcelona unfortunately had the opportunity to score at least 3 clean goals in the first half, because Real Madrid, for some reason, didn't start very well. They were struggling, and not for some reason. We know some of the reasons. The first reason is Carlo Ancelotti does this thing where he plays without a center forward, and it tells on their style. There's some teams that can get away without playing without a center forward because of the way that they pass the ball around. Barcelona can get away with it. That's the way they play. But when you are a Real Madrid side that is tailored with wingers playing the wings, with midfielders playing the role, you need that fulcrum up front, to be able to hold up play, to be able to spread the passes, to be able to open the defense. And so Real Madrid in the first half weren't getting any chances, any looks at Ter Stegen. I don't think they even knew the haircut he had in the first half. Their best shots were coming from outside the 18-yard box because they couldn't get too close in, and that was a function of the selection, if you ask me, that Carlo Ancelotti started with. But on Barcelona's side, despite the injuries, they started very well, playing very good football, opened the Real Madrid defense a couple of times. Unfortunately, was only able to score one of those chances, and they should have known. Everybody should know, when you're playing against Real Madrid, the match doesn't end till the 96th minute when the referee blows the whistle. And so from what Ter Stegen should have seen from afar. Unfortunately, when you look at the replay, you notice that Rudiger was from, and Jude Bellingham is dropping deeper. So half, Gavi was on Jude Bellingham all through, and he was winning every tackle, putting Jude Bellingham off. Then Jude Bellingham positions changes when they bring in Hussein. Now Gavi is not marking Jude Bellingham, and Jude Bellingham is just running freely in that 18-yard box. So it was a change of tactics that worked for Real Madrid. Unfortunately, Xavi didn't have any answers to that, and losing the El Clasico. But that was a brilliant one to watch.
Now, this leads us to this next one. Marcos Thuram has been reported saying earned revenge on Romelu Lukaku for Serie A's top.
All right. So Marcos Thuram was the guy who replaced Romelu Lukaku in Inter Milan after Lukaku refused to pick up phone calls from his teammates. But Roma met Inter Milan yesterday, and as usual, it was a Jose Mourinho style football. Roma was playing to not lose, and they were hoping that should they get a quick break, they'll be able to get one goal. And they did manage to frustrate and stifle Inter Milan till at least the 81st minute. And that's the thing about Roma. As good as the tactics is, they don't really have the discipline to not concede goals, which is why that doesn't really work for them. So ultimately, they made that mistake. Marcos Thuram capitalizes and Inter Milan win with a 1-goal lead. On the other hand, with against Napoli and AC Milan, now that was brilliant. I thought Napoli had the upper hand. They were playing at home. They seemed to be a team coming into form, and AC Milan was a team struggling. But AC Milan goes 2 goals up in the first half, and I'm